Good morning, my dear children. Ninth standard, subject Science 1, chapter number 4, measurement of matter. Here, T is missing, so please note it down. Measurement T is there. Okay. In this chapter, we studied our whole chapter as well as I have given you the solution of numericals also. Now, the part is for question answer. In your exercise, wherever the questions are there, all the solution is over here, which I'm going to send you the PDF form as well as in video. I'm just reading the part which I'm sending in PDF form. Okay. Sometimes students are not able to read what is given in the answer and all. So, very first question is, give example for positive radicals. Positive radicals means a radical which contains positive ion. Likewise, if I'm giving you example, whenever we are writing NaCl, this is the formula for sodium and chloride. NaCl means your salt. In this, Na contains positive charge and Cl contains negative charge. Na is sodium and Cl is minus chlorine. So in this answer we have to write positive radicals. That means we are writing only sodium ion. You can observe here chlorine is there. No, chlorine is not there. In the similar manner, the another example, silver ion, plus ion, cupric ion, CO2 plus, and potassium ion, K plus. Okay. Next question. Same. We have to write basic radical as we discuss in your lecture part, which are basic radicals, which are acidic radicals. So please go ahead with your theory part. Potassium ion K plus, silver ion Ag plus, ammonium ion NH4 plus, and calcium ion Ca2 plus. Next is acidic radicals. Hydride ion H minus, chloride ion Cl minus, nitrate ion NO3 minus, sulfate ion SO4 minus. All are in negative. Next is composite radical. Composite radicals means mixture of two, NHNOSO4 PO3 4. Okay. Metals with variable valency, copper, mercury, iron, tin, all are having variable valency. Now next is bivalent acidic radicals, which is sulfate ion, carbonate ion, dichromat ion, and sulfide ion. This is the question which is not given in your exercise, so don't write. Whatever comes in your exercise, you have to write that many questions only. Now next is trivalent basic radicals. Ferric ion, chromium ion, aluminium ion, gallium ion. Trivalent means 3 plus is given in the now question number 2. Write symbols of the following elements and the radicals obtained from them, and indicate the charge on the radicals: mercury, potassium, nitrogen, copper, sulfate, sulfur, carbon, chlorine, oxygen. So we have to write their symbols. I have shown you in your textbook also the symbols. First of all, first symbol is of mercury. Element is mercury, symbol is Hg. Radicals obtain Hg plus, Hg2 plus, and charge on the radical is +1, +2. Next question, potassium. Symbol is K. Obtain radicals obtain K plus, and charge on the radical is +1. Nitrogen. Symbol is N, capital N. Radicals obtain N3 minus, and charge on the radical is -3. Next is copper. Cu plus, Cu2 plus, charge is +1, +2. How we are deciding charges? Here single plus is there, here 2 plus is there. So hence single plus and 2 plus. Next is sulfur, symbol S. S2 minus, charge in the radical is minus 2. Next is carbon, symbol is C, radical C, 4 minus, and charge is minus 4. Chlorine, Cl, Cl minus, minus 1. Oxygen, O, O2 minus and minus 2. Next is write the steps in reducing the chemical formulae of the following compounds: sodium sulfate, potassium nitrate, ferric phosphate, calcium oxide, aluminium hydroxide. Sodium sulfate. Write the symbols. I have shown you in the video also how to write their formulae. Okay. First of all, we will take the element, and the element is sodium sulfate. Afterwards, we will write their radicals. So Na plus and SO4 minus. So as I told you, single Na is there and SO4 is 2. Here you have to write the charge. 1 charge, 2 charge. So that is only I am writing over here, 1 charge and 2 charge. Now cross multiplication this way, and after cross multiplication you will get this Na2 and SO4. Okay, now here we cannot give the charge because plus minus becomes null. Similarly, we have to solve for potassium nitrate also. Here are the steps, follow the steps, you will get the idea for the same. Next is ferric phosphate. These are the steps, follow your steps. Next is calcium oxide. Again steps are given over there, just follow the steps, you will get an idea. If still you have any doubt, just WhatsApp me, I will solve you each and every doubt of yours. Okay, now next question number 4 is write the answers to the following question and explain your answer. Explain how the element sodium is monovalent. Valence is decided by the number of electrons that an atom accepts or donates in order to complete the octet of electrons in its outermost orbit, that is to achieve a stable state. The electronic configuration of sodium is 281. In the outermost orbit, 1 electron is there, which shows that 1 electron in the outermost orbit. Sodium donates it 1 electron during the chemical reaction to complete its octet and becomes stable. The loss of electron leads to the formation of sodium ion Na+. If an element is donating the electron to the other atom, so the element becomes positive charge. So we can say with the unit positive charge. Thus the element sodium is monovalent because it is donating 1 electron. 1 electron means it is monovalent. Next is question B. M is the bivalent metal. Write down the steps to find the chemical formula of its compound form with the radicals sulfate and phosphate. M is the bivalent metal, hence the charge on M will be 2. Obviously, bi means 2 plus 2, and its valency will be 2. Why valency will be 2? Because in the outermost orbit 2 electrons are there, that is why we are writing 2 plus 2 charge on the element, and hence its valency will be 2. Steps for writing chemical formula of its compound formed with sulfate radical. Very first step is write the symbols of the radical with the basic radical on the left. First of all, it is bivalent, that is why I am writing the part of this 2 plus, and here SO4 which is sulfate. Now as we know, we are writing this charge, we are writing in the down, so I am writing the charges in the down. Now next is cross multiplication of with the charge. After cross multiplication I am getting MSO4 because 2 to get cancel. Next steps for writing chemical formula, it's compound formed with phosphate. So for phosphate I am taking on left hand side M as it is, and next is phosphate. Again I have to write there below the respective radicals, which I am writing this 3 over here and this 2 over here. Now next is cross multiplication, which I am doing cross multiplication. Obviously here the numbers are very different, 3 and 2 is there, so that is why there is no cancellation, and here we can write M3 and PO4 2. Next question, explain the need for a reference atom for atomic mass. Give some information about two reference atoms. Here we have given two information about the two reference atoms. Atoms are extremely small particles, which makes it very difficult to measure their masses accurately. Obviously they are very small, we cannot observe with our naked eye, so they are very small. If the thing is very small, how to measure its mass? It is very difficult to measure the mass. Okay, therefore their masses are compared on a relative scale with a reference atom. Thus a reference atom is required for expressing the relative atomic mass of an atom. The initially chosen reference atom was hydrogen, which has only one proton in its nucleus. Obviously one proton and one neutron. In this case relative mass of hydrogen was accepted as 1. Therefore magnitude of relative atomic masses various atoms become equal to their atomic mass number, that is sum of number of protons and neutrons. However, on the scale the relative atomic masses of many elements were found to be fractional. This lead to the use of different atoms as reference standard. Which atom? We are taking hydrogen. The other reference atom used was carbon. After hydrogen we are taking carbon. In this scale relative mass of a carbon atom was accepted as 12. The relative atomic mass of a hydrogen atom is the average mass of an atom of hydrogen as compared to 1/12 of the mass of carbon atom, and this value is equals to 1. What is meant by unified atomic mass? The unified atomic mass is the standard unit mass used to express the mass of an atom or a molecule. It is called Dalton and its symbol is small u. So we are having a value for one unit, that is 1.6605 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg kilogram. 1 unit is equals to. Explain with the example what is meant by mole, M-O-L-E, mole of a substance. 1 mole of a substance is that quantity having mass equal to its atomic or molecular mass expressed in grams. The number of particles in 1 mole of a substance is fixed and is equal to 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23. This number is called Avogadro's number and is denoted by the symbol Na. Here is the example for the same to show number. Molecular mass of water is 18 unit. Therefore 18 gram of water is 1 mole of water and it contains 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 molecules of water. The molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44 unit. Therefore 44 grams of carbon dioxide is 1 mole of carbon dioxide and it contains 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 molecules of carbon dioxide. This is same for all molecular masses. We can keep the constant value everywhere. Next is write the names of the following compounds and deduce their molecular mass. Very first example is of Na2SO4. Now first of all we write the constituents present in it. Constituents in this formula are sodium is there, sulfur is there, and oxygen is there. You can observe here Na sodium, S is sulfur, and O is oxygen. Now we have to write their atomic mass. For sodium it is 23. All these things is given in your textbook also. Sulfur is 32 and oxygen is 16. Number of atoms in the molecule, you can observe here number of atoms. Sodium is 2, so here I am writing 2. Sulfur is 1, so here I am writing 1, and oxygen is of 4, that is why I am writing over here 4. Okay, now we have to multiply atomic mass to the number of molecules. So here is the multiplication you can observe. Now after multiplication I am getting this answer: 23 2s are 32 1s are and 16 4s are. Now these are the mass of the constituents in units. Now for the final answer, molecular mass of Na2SO4 is sum of constituent atomic masses, addition of all these three. So I am getting 142 unit. This is same for all questions which are given in this question. Similarly, we can find out this question also, K2CO3. Okay, to understand this, to solve this, you should know about the concept of this table. You have to learn this table, and afterwards you should know about the atomic masses for all the atoms. This is very, very important to learn the atomic masses for all the atoms. I have given the solution for everyone, so please go ahead with everyone. Very easy, just solve it once. You will get it to know how to solve these questions. And after that, numericals are there, which I have given the solution in previous PDF in previous lecture. Okay, still if you have, because this is the chapter which is very important, and few things are going to continue with your next level, next standard. So that is why I am going to show you each and everything in detail. So please go ahead in detail of this chapter, learn each and everything, learn atomic number, learn atomic masses. It is very, very helpful. Okay, so we have done our fourth chapter with your notes, with the oral chapter. Still you have doubt, so please ask me, please WhatsApp me. I will give you response for your questions. Okay, now we will go ahead with science 2. Yet we have studied science 1, chapter number 1, chapter number 2, and chapter number 4. Now whatever I'm gonna teach you, all the detail is of part of science 2. Okay, so in the science 2 I am taking chapter number 10. Whatever the portion is there for your unit 1 test, so I will let you know whichever chapter I am gonna covering. All these chapter are there in your first unit test. Still I'll tell you the portion and pattern, all the things, when your exam is there. Okay, so don't ask me, ma'am, when exam is there. I will give you idea for the same. Now we will go ahead with chapter number 10, which is of your science 2 part. Whenever the lecture is there for science 1 and science 2, I told you that I will let you know which is of science 1 and which is of science 2. For the homework writing also, you have to make 2 notebooks to write science 1 and science 2. Okay, now 10th chapter is of science 2. Information communication technology. The short form of information communication technology is ICT. Have you heard ICT? ICT is full form of information communication technology. So in this chapter we are going to study about the new direction of progress, and the topics are important components of computer, importance of information communication in science and technology, opportunities in the field of computers and different types of software. Here I am reading few parts. Can you tell which devices do we use directly or indirectly for collecting, sharing, processing, and communicating information? Do you have any idea for the same which device? Obviously, your mobile phone, PC, laptop, all these things are there to communicate, and so many more things are there. So the term communication technology includes communication devices and the use of those devices as well as the services provided with their help. The store of information generated due to the advances in science and technology is increasing at a tremendous rate. If we ignore this explosion in information, the knowledge that we have will become outdated. Why this thing is written over here? Because nowadays it is very important. We should aware of this technology. Now the criteria, nowadays whatever the lectures are going on your YouTube link, on your phone, you are observing your phone all the lectures and all. So this is the information which I'm sharing with any chapter, any explanation which I'm sharing with you all. Why? With what help is going on, like through the what thing I am gonna share with this thing through the link. Obviously I'm gonna teach you on this lesson on my phone, on my laptop, on my computer, or through these things only I am sending you the information through WhatsApp, through what you'll call YouTube. Okay, so why, like from where all these things are coming? So all these things are part of our technology. Okay, devices used in information communication technology. What type of devices are there? So different devices are used for producing information. You all know the idea what type of devices are there for communicating, classifying, saving, storing information, managing information. Like example is telephone is used to sharing information by conversing with someone. If you want to share your data, if you want to save your data, you are having a microchip in which you can store your data. You have a laptop, you have a phone. In the phone memory also you can save your data, you can store it. Okay, you can classify, you can communicate with all these things. With all these things comes in your communication technology. So here one table is there, so please fill up this table. I'm gonna tell you two device from my side, the uses of this, and you have to write for two devices. Okay, I'm gonna tell you these two devices, first two, and this you have to write in your book. Like in short, you have to write all four in your book, but for answer of these two I will tell you. Computer, laptop, what is the used for this? What is the use for computer, laptop? Anything you can tell me, think about it. Anything can be there, like you can share your pictures to your friends, you can converse, you can have your conversation with your friends, you can colleagues, with your job profile. We can do our engineering work on laptops. So many works, so many uses are there. If you are thinking within your mind, lot of uses are there, just think about it. Okay, where is it is used? Where? Obviously at job places and all. Job places, with your school work. Benefits from its use? Yes, obviously good. Mobile, tell me the mobile work where you are using. Just write it down, your idea for these things, for these devices in your notebook, and send me the picture of the same. Okay, the computer, which is the most important device for information communication, is considered to have gone through 5 generations since it was first created. The computers used during the period between 1946 and 1959 are said to be first generation computers. First generation computers 1946 to 1959. The ENIAC computer was made in this period. Valves were used in its construction. These valves were large in size. They also consumed lot of electricity that generated heat, and computers would shut down many times. Today's computer are fifth generation computers. Nowadays which we are using computers, they are fifth generation computer, and in 1946 till 1959 that was first generation computers. Like very large size in valves they are used in first generation. They very large number of size valves they used. Because of that it consumed lot of electricity and they generate heat, and computers would shut down many times. Nowadays it is not happening this type of things because it's a model computer, we can say. The entry of computers in all fields this age of technology has been possible only due to increased speed of computers. Can you tell me in which field of work we see computers being used? Nowadays with every field computer is there, but still give me the answer in which field most of use is there. Think over here. How does computer work? So in this picture you can observe the working of a computer. This is your processor. This chip is there. If you're gonna open your monitor over there, like lot of chips are there, and that is a part of processor. Don't open, please. Now next is input unit. All types of information data is entered into computer through this unit. Generally, a keyboard is used to enter data or information. This is mouse, this is camera, here is a printer, this is processing unit, which we are saying CPU, central processing unit, or in this part processing unit, memory unit, control unit, ALU, output unit. The result solution answer is eventually sent to the output unit, generally a screen or monitor, we can say. Printer is used for output unit. We can take the data to out, like in hard copies of the data on the paper itself. So these are the many things working of computer part. You have to draw this diagram also of your computer, working of your computer. This is the part of your homework also. You have to draw this diagram in your notebook. In your homework notebook also you can draw. So I stop my lecture over here. Thank you. And this part we will cover in next lecture.